This is the circle of fifths, and it is very convenient as a lyre player. It is a very handy tool that can help you understand music and also help you compose your own lyre pieces. So the purpose of this video is to investigate how the circle of fifths can help you in your lyre playing. You can buy one of these for very cheap on eBay, and I highly recommend it. Now let's get into the details. You have to tune a lyre into a key. So this is a key that you use. So if you have a C tuned lyre, then you have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. So this is all the notes that you have within your tuning. And if you were to play chords, then you would have the C major chord, the D minor chord, the E minor chord, the F major chord, the G major chord, the A minor chord, and the B diminished chord. So if you want to tune your lyre, let's say, to G, then you have G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. G flat is the same as F sharp. You can see F sharp down there, but it's good to know the enharmonic equivalents because especially when you get down to the flats, it's only going to say the flats and you might be playing with sharps. So it's going to say B flat, which is A sharp. So you need to learn the enharmonic equivalents. But how I use this recently is I use it for composing. So I compose one piece in C major that's using C as the tonic or the root. And then I get all these chords, and then I can compose one in A minor because the relative minor for C major is A minor, and that's why it's below C major. So if I was to, I've composed in G major and E minor. I have a song in both of those. I composed in D major and B minor. I have a song in both of those. And I composed in A major and F sharp minor. I have a song for both of those. And the next step is to compose in E major and C sharp minor. So this is what I'll be working with in my next two pieces that I'm going to focus on composing with the electric lyre. You can see these numbers here, and they're interval numbers. So the first interval is E. The second interval is F sharp minor. The third interval is G sharp minor. The fourth interval is A major. The fifth interval is B major. The sixth interval is C sharp minor. And the seventh interval is E flat diminished. And that is D sharp diminished, the enharmonic equivalent. So you can also use this to use chord progression. So you could go like from 1 to 4, then to 5. Sorry, 1 to 4 to 5 if you wanted to do that. Or you could go from, these are all the intervals. I'll show you, we'll start back at C because it's easier. But the way this circle of fifths works is there's 5 intervals between C and G. So let's count out 5. C, D, E, F, G. That's 5, and that's why it's next to the C. So it's 5. If you go backwards, it's 4. So it's 4 steps. So let's go C, D, E, F. And that's 4 steps. So if you go left, it's 4 steps each time. If you go right, if you go clockwise, it's 5 steps. And the reason why it's laid out like this is because these are similar keys. So the key of C sounds most similar to the key of G and the key of F. They share most of the notes, and as you progress up the circle of fifths, so you go from C to G, your diminished chord or your diminished note is going to give you the sharp that you add. So we can see F sharp or G flat. So we add F sharp. So you're tuned in the key of C, and you want to tune in the key of G now. So you add 1 sharp, which is F sharp, and then you're tuned to the key of G. So when you do that, your starting note will either be G, your starting and finishing note, your tonic, your root note will either be G or E. And if it's E, then you'll be playing in minor. If it's G, you'll be playing in major. So if we go up to the key of D, then we have that sharp already, the F sharp, which we already added. And now we want to add a D flat, which is a C sharp. We can't really see it. The circle doesn't show it very well, but it's the enharmonic equivalent. It's best just to learn the enharmonic equivalent. So now we have a C sharp and an F sharp. And then when we go to A, then we have A flat, which is G sharp. So we just keep on adding these sharps to it each time. So it's a really cool method to learn music really well, to tune your lyre first to C, play around with the C scale and composing music with C, and then A minor. And then after you're done with that, you can either go left or right. And if we are going to go left, we end up with F, which has E as the diminished, and we add a B flat. We can see we're adding a B flat there. So you can see going left is a little bit different. It's not the diminished that we're adding, but the flat is the one on the left. So we would add, in the key of B flat, we would add an E flat. So you would be working with a B flat and an E flat. So this is really handy because it shows you all the notes and all the chords that you're working with, and you can use the intervals as different progressions. You can know that the F in the C major chord is the fourth interval, which means that C, D, E, F, it's 4. And so, for example, the G note here is the 5th, and when you go to G usually likes to resolve back to C, especially with a chord progression, but a lot of times you can play around with the different notes and end up on G and then go back to C, and it sounds good. So G adds the tension and then C resolves the tension. Usually within Western music, we either start and finish on the tonic, which is the 1 interval, and we don't always do that. We can break the rules sometimes, but it's just a really handy tool, especially if you're composing. So I'm now I'm now about to tune my lyre to the E major and C sharp minor keys, and now I have all the notes here. I can keep this beside me and know what I'm working with, and all these other notes are hidden, so it's only showing me what I'm working with. So I only have what I'm seeing here to work with on my lyre, which is really, really handy. So I really recommend you get one of these circles of fifths to expand your capabilities with the lyre. It's really relevant with the lyre, and I recommend you get one that hides all the other notes so you can see clearly what you're working with. I'll show you what it means for chords with a C-tuned lyre. So first you have your C, which goes like, that's C major. Then you have your D minor, which sounds like it's a minor, so it's a more sad mood. Then you have your E minor, which sounds like, then you have your F major, which sounds like, then you have your G major, which we can come back down to the bottom to do this because we have G major as the bottom string, or G as the bottom string. Or I can do it up here too. And then you have A minor, which is, or then you have your diminished chord, and the diminished chord sounds pretty bad. I wouldn't really use it. I'll show you something you can do with the diminished, but That's the diminished chord. And if we play it up here, it sounds like this. I might use it one day. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. But something you can do with the diminished is you can invert it. So you, instead of playing the B chord, you can take your last note here on the B, on the diminished, and just make it go up one. And this is an inverted G, so you're actually playing the G chord, but all you do is go up one, and instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. Yeah, so this is a really cool way to learn music, especially if you want to compose and play around with different keys. I highly recommend you get a circle of fifths. I appreciate your attention span. Go to the website wendellsdiary.com, read the blog, like, subscribe, comment, and become a member if you want to support me. Until next time, this is Wendell, signing off.